welcome to my video on claims under the Inheritance Provision for Family and Dependents Act 1975. In this video, I'm going to discuss applications under Section 5 of the Act, which cover interim relief. Interim relief operates to allow a claimant to make an application during the course of the court proceedings for financial provision from the estate prior to the determination of the final award. This is important because it can take several months for a claim to go from start to finish, sometimes even years, and a claimant may find themselves in a position where they are impecunious and have to ask the court for money from the estate to meet their living costs. The Section 5 criteria are that the claimant must be in immediate need of financial assistance from the estate, and that there must be available assets within the estate to meet any award made by the court on an interim basis. When determining an award, the court must carry out a balancing exercise using the factors in Section 3 of the Act, namely whether the claimant has an immediate financial need now or in the foreseeable future, and whether any beneficiary of the estate is also in that position. The court can also look at the mental and physical disability of the claimant or any beneficiary. These are just some of the factors in Section 3 of the Act, which the court must take into account in making not only an interim award, but also a final award. It is very important that the claimant demonstrates that the need for financial assistance from the estate is immediate. It cannot be something that is in the foreseeable future. It has to be an immediate need that the court must determine urgently for the claimant. And any claimant bringing such an application would necessarily need to do so on an urgent basis, supported by evidence demonstrating how pressing the need for financial support is and showing that there is no other source of income or assets that could enable the claimant to discharge that need. The role of the executor or administrator of the estate is also important within these applications. That person must provide the court with evidence as to the assets within the estate and whether there is any available on an immediate basis to meet any award made by the court. In some circumstances, a claimant will have been left a provision under a will or a legacy. If that legacy or will provision is not sufficient, the claimant will of course be making an application under the Act for a final award. But what about the distribution of that award or legacy prior to any final determination by the court? Well, the executor or administrator would have to consider whether it is appropriate or even possible to make that distribution. In most cases where there are proceedings on foot, the executor or administrator would probably want the consent of all other beneficiaries or a sanction by the court to enable it to make the provision to the claimant on an interim basis. That might obviate the need for the claimant to make an application under Section 5 for interim provision. If the claimant is successful in obtaining an interim award, that award can be accumulated and offset against any final award that the court makes. So, for example, if the claimant were to receive an award on an interim basis providing for periodical payments of a lump sum, that lump sum can be taken into account when looking at any lump sum that is sought by the claimant as part of the substantive claim. The court has broad discretion to impose restrictions on any interim award and even time limit them for a certain period to see the claimant through a particularly difficult financial period. If the claimant is ultimately unsuccessful in their claim but had been successful in the application for interim relief, there is no express power within the Act to provide for the court to make an order requiring the claimant to pay back any interim payment that they had received. If an executor had paid the payment to a claimant on an interim basis under the court order, but later the estate was found to be insufficient to support that award, the executor is protected from personal liability by virtue of the court order in having made that interim payment. These are important considerations for any claimant in making an application for financial provision under the Inheritance Act. and careful thought must be given to the items that are sought by the claimant for interim relief and the amount of money in the estate available to pay it.